The FNAF movie has been in talks for ages, and been a rumor for even longer, but with all the theories and tiny details hidden in this gigantic series, what do we want to see explored in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie? That's what we're exploring today. Let's do it. And be sure you let me know down below one thing that you want to see come out of this movie, alright? An animatronic, an actor, a reference, plotline, anything. In at 10, the box. What's in the box? The FNAF 4 box has, like the Bite of 87, been a pain in the ass for all FNAF fans, and those who try to explain things have been struggling for a while to explain what could be inside this infamous box. However, FNAF 6 might have given us an answer that we were looking for with its simple final speech. In Henry's final speech from the true ending of the game, the layout of the FNAF 6 pizzeria is oddly similar to the layout of the FNAF 6 building, and the stories from Candy Cadet talking about 5 things becoming one thing and then getting put in a box makes sense with this as well. 5 animatronics, however you want to count it, Baby, Scrap Baby, Molten Freddy, the puppet, Lefty, or Molten Freddy as most of them, however you want to work it, even if you include your character, 5 things are becoming one fire. That yeah, they all go up in smoke, and that's Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. While William might have escaped, maybe that's what the box is supposed to represent. You know, the box being the reality that William is able to escape all the time. Who knows, really? I don't, but you know what? Hopefully we will after this goddamn movie, because this is one of the biggest mysteries of the series, so it would be nice if you were to explain it. And at 9, the Bite of 87. The survival logbook makes an appearance on yet another list, because it still makes me mad to this day. This time, either solidifying or making the Bite of 87 even more confusing. The Bite of 87 being the mysterious incident where someone, presumably Jeremy from FNAF 2, gets his frontal lobe bitten off by an animatronic. We thought that we had the animatronic who did it pinned as Mangle, but then Ultimate Custom Night comes along and then proposed that maybe it was Toy Chica, with the voice line of "Where's my beak?" lodged in your forehead, of course. What the hell else could that mean? However, I think the logbook actually tries to give us more of an answer as to who done did it. On page 35, the book asks you some would you rather questions about if you were trapped under a desk for a week or surrounded by baby-themed animatronics, but the last question it asks you is whether you would rather lose a frontal lobe or an arm. Every other question makes sense, aside from this one, at least in that situation. But if you go to page 87, you see a couple of animatronic cage matches where you're determining the winner and why they would win. On page 86, this happens as well, but both animatronics up for debate are in this section, but Mangle is the only one that we think could have done it that appears on page 87, and they're clearly set up to win because they're being pitted against Balloon Boy. I mean, it's a freaking fox versus a baby. How do you think that's gonna go? Chica is also presented in this section, but she's on page 86 against Freddy, which is a much more fair matchup. Maybe this is Scott trying to correct us from what we thought we learned in Ultimate Custom Night, or maybe it's just another coincidence or a diversion, but it doesn't matter as long as they let us know who did it in the FNAF movie. Please, if you omit this key moment from the series in this movie, I'm going to sue you. Speaking of which, in it ain't lawsuits. Yeah, I've mentioned these lawsuits quite a bit on another list, but there was good reason for it, okay? Lawsuit number 4 in FNAF 6, well, I mean, like, number 4 at least if you go by the fandom wiki gallery order, but civil suit number 365422879 has their first complaint as, quote, a young boy suffered severe mental trauma because of the defendant Fazbear Entertainment Inc.'s ice-cold indifference to the health and well-being of the human population, which, I mean, while true, we all know it's true, wouldn't actually be valid on a lawsuit. You can't describe the company as cold-hearted or say that they didn't care about the health and well-being of the human population. That's slander, or libel, depending on how you want to pursue it. But as it would pertain to the facts of the case itself, they have no information as to what is in the brains of others. It's like how you can't use what someone else has said to you as evidence, you know, objection hearsay. But in this case, it doesn't seem like Fazbear actually has fault in this incident. The ground gave way beneath the boy and he got trapped in basically a mini sinkhole, something that would have been near impossible to calculate and actually comes back to bite Fazbear Entertainment in the ass when, you know, the sinkhole happens in security breach. But it's also noted on the suit that Fazbear Entertainment lowered him pizza and party favors while they were waiting for emergency services. Okay, come on, that's doing their part. What are they gonna do? Pull this kid out of a sinkhole? And also, all this kid ended up developing from this was a fear of the dark and a fear of anchovies, both of which I had as a kid, and I'm not suing anyone. So I want to see them explore lawsuits like this in the movie. I want to see William in court. Come on, put him up against Mike Ross. And it's 7, Coffee. In FNAF VR Help Wanted, you can see multiple animatronics, but one of the most interesting is probably the coolest hidden secret animatronic in the series ever. And yeah, there's secret animatronics. Coffee is actually not even an animatronic in the FNAF series. It's from another one of Scott's games, which failed, like every other game before FNAF, unfortunately, but at least FNAF was successful. So, you know, he's gonna make references. This one is one of them. The game from which Coffee hails is called Desolate Hope, and in that game, Coffee is an autonomous service robot designed to tend to the needs of the nearby humans. It's a sentient coffee machine that actually makes coffee. Welcome to Yog Labs. Coffee can be seen in FNAF 3 in VR if you reload the level enough times. He will at some point randomly be sitting on your desk. You can't really interact with him, and he won't actually make you coffee, which sucks because, you know, when I'm freaking out because a 60-year-old dude is trapped in an animatronic coming after me at 2 a.m. You know, I shouldn't need it. Because, you know, it's 12 to 6 a.m. Like, all you need is like a shot of William getting his morning cup of joe in the movie, right? And then just have the coffee maker look like coffee from Desolate Hope, and we will all be happy. We will cheer. We will actually cheer. And it's 6, the 4th child. I propose this idea that perhaps William and his wife, or baby mama, but most likely wife at this point, had 4 kids instead of 3. The 3 that we see in game. This was mostly based off The Immortal and the Restless, the TV series from Sister Location, where a woman was telling a character most assumed to be a representation of William that he had a son that clearly was his, but he was denying it. And then after looking at the genetics and then trying to explain to the people in my life who don't really understand it and pushing them all away and causing self-isolation, it just shows how likely this scenario was. If the babies came out blonde, William might just have thought that they weren't his. But what if later William realized that the baby was in fact his and wanted it back? Or perhaps I'm wrong about the whole thing. I don't know. At least I wasn't sure until a comment from YouTube user Saber Sapphire on Tiny Details Part 7 actually gave me a little bit of info. I think we can all agree that Ballora is an allegory for Mrs. Afton, alright? William made the robot as a way to cope. And we can also agree that she's supposed to be a mother figure to the mini Renas. And that's what got us all thinking that she was meant to be a mother in the first place, aside from her song. Well, Saber pointed out that the number of mini Renas that Ballora has is 4. Okay, Ballora has 4 children, and if she's meant to represent the mother of the Afton kids, this detail could solidify this theory even more. And maybe that's where Vanessa comes from. Alright? Explore it in the movie. Give me some like Jane the Virgin drama where Afton has a 4th kid. Come on. How about doing a number 5 Secret Panther? No, partner. How about doing a number 5 Secret Partner? Glitch Trap is an odd character, okay? They're supposed to be an accidental addition to FNAF VR, but they somehow are able to interact with the environment and alter aspects of the game. That's not an accident, okay? I've always questioned why Glitch Trap is able to move the curtain in the final scene and then put us in the Freddy suit, but how is he able to do that if he's supposed to be a spirit? Well, he can't, alright? That's not it. Any being must obey the laws of the form they inhabit, or whatever it says in it, chapter 2. So, how is he able to move things like a curtain when I can't move them in game, alright? Simple. He wasn't an accident. He was a glitch, but he was intentional. He was meant to be there, obviously. That's why Vanny's working on getting him out, or ends up getting him out, or whatever it is. He was meant to be there, okay? Glitch Trap was an intentional feature of FNAF VR, which makes me think, who else is working for him? Because at this point, Vanny wouldn't have been possessed or under his control. So yeah, I hope they explore that in the FNAF movie, or at least like introduce a character that is clearly meant to be this mysterious third party. And at 4, Hiding Spot. I really hope this movie answers this question properly, because I swear to the Dark Lord Cthulhu this should not have been possible. William should in no way have gotten away with putting the missing children's victims in the animatronics like we're led to believe. The smell of rotting bodies would ruin everything. The decomp would speed up because the animatronics are moving around. I don't know how many times I've said this at this point, okay? They're in front of people every single day. People started complaining that they were leaking blood and mucus and that they were smelling like death. There's no way that if William getting away wasn't important to the story, he wouldn't have been caught. Come on. It was also pointed out to me that Foxy has holes in his body, alright? So if there was a kid that was in there, you'd be able to see it. You'd be able to high-five little Timmy as you're walking by Foxy and he's putting on a show, but then you're like, wait a second, that's a body. So, yes, while originally maybe we were like led to believe that I have to put the bodies in the animatronics, it's basically impossible. So, I hope they explain what actually happened in the movie. Getting close to the end, and at number 3, 1985 keypad. The security panel code of 1985 from sister location revealing images of like the FNAF 4 house isn't a new thing. We've known it for ages, but and many are using this to confirm the events of this game taking place in 1985, or actually trying to confirm FNAF 4 taking place in 1985. But this begs the question, where did these rooms come from? If this confirms the events of the game taking place in 1985, why are the houses we play in during the 8-bit and then the main gameplay so different? I mean, it could be an illusion since we know that the animatronics are, because you know it's a brain coma thing, but like, if that was the case, how would the cameras be seeing this? Okay, and if these are two different houses, why? What does that mean for the series overall? Like, come on, hell, where's the parents' bedroom in the 8-bit house, okay? Is it like that locked door? But like, is that the room? And even if it is, where's the plush trap hall? This is one thing that's always bothered me about this game, and I know, okay, like of all things, this is gonna bother me, yes. Okay, because as far as I'm concerned, FNAF 4 is a video game in their universe, so those cameras can't be legit, unless it was just meant to illustrate that they would be in the same house or something. But ultimately, in number 2, explosive ending. William dies, okay, at the end of Man in Room 1280, not before that. The third story of the 5th Fazbear Frights book, and he does so quite extravagantly, exploding into a pile of mush right before a pastor's eyes. But how is that possible? How could William just explode? It's not something you really think about, but I have quite the explanation because I just want it to happen. William knew about possession, and he knew how it happened. He knew that the agony required to do such a thing was excruciating, because, you know, his daughter got scooped, his son got crunched. So what if he just wanted to ensure that he would suffer extreme agony by injecting or installing some form of explosive device within him that, when triggered, if like in the vicinity of like a Fazbear warehouse or something, would just boom, boom, instantly. Alright? I mean, it would mean that he couldn't fly anywhere, but he doesn't really need to fly anywhere. He has everything he needs. So yeah, this guy was mental, possibly injecting himself with a remnant, which is molten soul metal, in order to stay alive. So yeah, this isn't out of the question. So if the movies want to get closer to where the games are, with the next 2 movies that Matthew Lillard's contract has actually confirmed, then I don't know, maybe we could get a security breach movie if they do this. So do it. I want to see Shaggy as William Afton explode. And finally, in number 1, back together. I'll put you back together. That's it. That's the number. I want this explained. Okay? Is Crying Child a robot? Just tell me. Tell me. Please. Alright? Thank you. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching. Click the video. I'm done. This is too long. I'm suffering. Alright? I got in 30 minutes ago.